It's getting close. Now it's time to go out and find a place to harden off your vegetables. And we're going to talk you through that process right here on the Backyard Gardens podcast, Minisode.
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
Welcome to the Backyard Gardens podcast, where we talk about all things gardening and give the information out for you to be successful in your garden, whether it's your first or your last. We are your hosts, Ben, the backyard gardener, and
Batavia, the front yard gardener.
one in the country,
One in the city.
Now get ready as we dig deep into this wonderful world of gardening as we learn to grow and grow for change. This is the make it or break it moment, I think.
I was just trying to evaluate, am I fearful of everything? Like, when did I become that person? I was so nervous last year about this. Like, all of the work I had done, it's going to go out into the bad world, and, it's just going to take them.
And you should be.
But that didn't happen. Just, so.
Right. Because you had a good coach.
Is that right? Okay,
yeah,
put me in, coach.
Coach.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about what you told me to do and what I actually did? No. Save that for another episode.
No, hell no. No, I mean, and I am notorious for being way more cautious on this part because I have grown seedlings for months and months and months and then put them outside and basically had out of 50, 2 left.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, it happened to me before. So this is really important. And all we're asking you to do now is just figure out where you're going to harden off. Okay. So hardening off is the act of getting your seedling from inside acclimated to outside over a period of time. So we're going to get it acclimated to the wind, the sun, and the temperature.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
now you might be thinking
the wetness.
Go ahead. Yeah. And the wetness. And so you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, I've had fans on it the whole time and everything's strong. Well, no, your fan is like a piss ant's heart compared to what the wind of the earth will give it. So it still takes time. And then the sun, I mean, yeah, you've had lights on for 16 hours, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, you put those plants out there for one day in sun, like they're supposed to be planted, and they'll get cooked.
Just think about it like this. You've sat in your house with lights on for 16 hours and you're not breaking out in sweat, right? Sit outside, right?
Yeah.
You listen, once that sun hits, you're going to feel it.
It's brutal.
And that plant baby
and
is too.
Like in the spring, I have to get hardened off too. So I'll go outside and work in the garden and I'll get sunburnt. But by the end of the summer, I'm not getting sunburnt.
Yeah. Adjusted,
I can do more things. So you have to get adjusted and work on it.
Yeah.
So that's that's what this is all about. So why would we talk?
Let me just add another note. So depending on, because, if you're bringing them from outside or inside to outside, there is that hardening off step, no matter if it's spring or summer or whenever. And that weather at that time could be distinctly different. If you're in the spring, It could be, while sure we're in the 40s, maybe that wind can be a little bit cool, right? If it's in the summer, while it may not be as windy, perhaps the heat could be very different than wherever you were nurturing those plant babies indoors. So just keep, it's an extra careful eye on what the elements are really like. Go on.
Yeah. And that's why we spend a week ahead of time talking about finding a place. That's all we're going to do is just find a place. So the requirements are you want a place outside that is protected and shaded. Okay, then that's, the first days are crucial. So I usually use up against the side of my house under an eave for the first day. And I just put it out there, no sun whatsoever, just straight shade. And I might only do that for half the day. And then we can, you bring it in at night, you protect it from the cold at night, but your days should be getting warmer at this point, I would imagine. Yeah. So, you just want to find an area where you can gradually get more and more sunlight to it. Now, you might have to create an area for that. you know?
So my gangway, so in between the house, based on the way the houses are where I live, I could reach out and touch my neighbor's house, maybe with a stretch. So the gutters on both of our buildings, on both of our homes, basically block a lot of sun. So they're basically in, like if I'm standing there, there's shade. So that's a really good spot to kind of line up those seedlings. And it actually does a bit of a job to protect it if it happens to rain, while I have them out there hardening off. So that's a good spot for me. I also use my back porch depending on what days I'm on when it comes to hardening off, because it's there's a bit of sun because we'll progress through this, but there's also a lot of shade there as well. Underneath, my lawn furniture on the deck. So some options.
Yeah. And so what we do now, and so this is going to help you out in your garden in general, is knowing the path of the sun throughout your yard. So I would say, and a lot of people are working, and that's totally fine. A lot of people work. So I would say, like, you listen to this on Tuesday today. Tonight when I got home, because it is later, I would see, like, where's the sun on this certain area? Where's the sun at 6, 5 at night, 6 at night, whatever. And then in the mornings, look at it. But then on the weekend, this weekend coming up, it's really important. Pull out your phone and set it a reminder. And I would just check it. What time does the sun start to hit this area? And what time does the sun stop to hit this area? And that's important. So if you do that for Saturday and Sunday, then you're going to know, okay, when it's time to harden off, which should be really soon, you're going to know how to move it, because I start mine on my back porch, and I know that my back porch, where they get sun between 9 and 10 o'clock, and that's about it. And then the farther out I move them, I get more and more and more and more.
Sure.
And at some point, if I'm start putting them outside later, there's another side of my porch that I'll end up using a lot that will get sun from roughly 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So what I do is I put it on a table, and then that table has an umbrella on it. And then I use the umbrella to regulate how much sun it gets. So, and that helps it protect it from a beating rain.
Yeah.
Because now's the time of year where there's going to be a lot of rains and stuff like that. So.
Okay. If you are like me and you have wildlife in the form of stray cats, also keep that in mind when it comes to where you're putting them in.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't want to kind of beat the elements, but then end up having some critters gnawing on those seedlings. So just keep that in mind. And it could be rabbits for some. It could be squirrels for me. I'm sorry, I just can't help myself. Lord knows it could be deer for some. So keep all of that in mind. I hope deers aren't coming up right next to your door though. Or
yeah,
they do.
Yeah, they come up to my back porch.
Oh dear goodness.
Yeah. We've confirmed that with a pile of poo-poo. But
for
that
me,
my dog ate.
For me, and I think, did we cover this already? So there are a few different spots that I am using. I'll be frank. The back porch.
I thought you were Batavia.
Well, for right now, for the Minisode, call me Frank.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a trek, right? So pulling all of them out from where they are in the grow room and upstairs. I'm trying to get them as close to the door as possible because it's convenient for me. Luckily, that space is also pretty, how should I say, pretty shady. Another spot which I hadn't considered, but I'd have to go all the way through my living room, is my front porch, which is completely covered. So it's basically then just getting exposed to the temperature, the air, not sun on it at all. So those are spots that I have. I already mentioned the sides of the house. But yeah, so we're not talking about like the length of time we're going to spend. That's not on this Minisode.
No.
Where
but you mean length of time for how long they're going to harden off?
Yeah.
No, that's actually going to be the next one. This is just for this week. You're just going to find a place. It sounds easy, but it takes time. It does take time, and I mean, one thing you can do is if you have somebody at home, you can call them during the middle of the day and say, hey, go look and see what this is. Communicate with your family and tell them, like my wife will do it a lot. she's not the best in the garden, but she's good at that kind of stuff. From like, hey, I need to know in this area, what does it look like?
Yeah.
And she'll go look, and that's all you need to know. Is there a lot of sun right there? Yes, there is. Done.
Yeah.
You know.
And then also consider a number of seedlings, number of plants you're bringing out there. Because again, that's going to equate to the space you need, right?
Yeah. And you're also going to have to bring them in and out. So think about that too. So think about doing it in waves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, depending if you're Batavia and you have 80,000 tomatoes to go in her 253 garden beds, then you know.
Hey, way to bring back the garden bed count, which was a part.
It's starting back.
Yeah, which was a part of the pain in the ass. The whole process was right. So luckily I have space right on the inside of my home that I can bring and line those seedlings up, and I can get them back outside pretty quickly. So, I mean, by quickly, I mean, you know, steps. I mean, that's when I start getting to my 10,000 steps, just so you know.
Yeah. Are you there yet?
No, not yet. I said that's when I, because we're just thinking about hardening off. We're not actually moving stuff in and out. So
no.
I'm still at like 1,500 steps.
Yeah, and I reiterate what Batavia said, and this is really important. Put it somewhere convenient, because invariably what's going to happen is you're going to be sitting on the couch at night and doing some Netflix and chill business going on, and you're going to be like, oh shit, I forgot them. And then you're going to have to get up, make it easy on yourself, man. Don't make it hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you make it hard, then you'll just be like, it'd be all right. Yeah. You know, and then you wake up and you got some dead ass plants. So, you know, and it happens. It's happened to me. You know, you forget. I mean, I've been in the bed at night and jumped up and been like, oh, you know, and have to go out and get them. And it's actually not a bad thing to do that, because you do want them to start getting acclimated to the cold. But, you know, if it was any farther out in my yard, like out by my shed, out in the back 9, I wouldn't have got them. I'd been like, I'm all set. So,
we're thinking.
Yep. Get going. Just start looking to harden off. That's all we got to do. You make this effort now, you'll be much easier. And then, hey, you never know. You might know what's part sun, part shade, full sun, part sun. No, you know, you might know all this stuff about your yard by watching it just for 1 week.
I'm so excited about knowing that.
You should go back and listen to us talk about it on the garden terms episode. Yeah. That's all I got to say. I think it was, do you speak the garden language? Yeah. So, all right, everybody. You heard it right here first. Get ready to harden off. Thank you for listening to our Minisode, and leave us a review wherever you can. It really helps us out. Drop us a comment. Hell, just let us know you're listening. Mm-hmm. We want to hear from you.
See ya.
And until next time.
See you again. We'll still see you.
Still see you. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you want to see what we're up to, or just stay up to date on all the announcements regarding the show or anything gardening, then you can follow us on Instagram at Backyard Gardens TV.
We love seeing what you guys are doing, so use hashtag BYG podcast in your posts, and we'll be sharing your gardens with the Backyard Gardens community.
And check us out on YouTube at Backyard Gardens, where we will post this show, all of our other shows, clips, and then also some gardening tips and just gardening entertainment. And you can see us at our website at backyardgardenstv.com. But that's it for today's show. So help us as we learn to grow and grow for change. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later. We'll call this one a wrap.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.